Three core arguments to use when seeking to invest in your field service management systems. Part 1. Stay with the numbers, building a case based on return on investment. It seems like only a short time ago that one of the key discussions within the global field service sector was whether companies should shift the focus of their field service operations from being a cost centre to a profit centre. At the time, this was a major break from tradition in terms of how field service was placed within the business and how it was perceived at large. Service was often very much a necessary evil that was in place to support product sales. Service delivery was an opaque mystery for all those in the business whose role lay outside of the service domain. Fast forward to today, and the world in which we live is radically different. The shift to field service being a profit centre has become the norm. And as we enter an age of servitization, advanced services and outcome-based service offerings, we are beginning to see service revenue often become a significant, if not the primary line on an organisation's profit and loss sheet. In such an environment, it is of course essential that every single aspect of the field service operation is fully optimised. To achieve this, a modern field service management or FSM system is essential. A return on investment is one of the key selling points that FSM solution providers will put forward when engaging with their prospective customers, and this is for a good reason. It's something that catches the attention of the C-suite, and it's something that can be delivered in several key areas within the field service operation. Let's take a quick look at some of them. Reducing screen time. Perhaps the most obvious and effective area in which a company can see ROI on an FSM solution is by increasing the effective time of their engineers through better scheduling. Whether it be the move from spreadsheets and whiteboards to a relatively simple assisted scheduling solution, or even upgrading a solution from a standard tool to something that uses more advanced, artificial-based algorithms and real-time data for their traffic, improving the routing and dispatch of your engineers can and should lead to significant reductions in screen time for those engineers. The ability to leverage more efficient scheduling can enable an organisation to see their engineers spending more time on site with customers and thus being more productive. This is often referred to as engineer utilisation, and it's an important key performance indicator or KPI measured by many best-in-class field service organisations. In some cases, the results can be as dramatic as adding in an extra couple of jobs per engineer per day. But even a small amount of minutes saved per engineer each day translates into significant cost reductions when multiplied across an entire fleet across an entire year. Increasing first-time fix rates. As the old adage goes, if you can make a repair on the first service call, you're breaking even. Every time then you have to send an engineer to that same site for that same maintenance job, you are losing money. Therefore, first-time fix rates are not only a critical KPI, but also an important area of focus for reducing the cost of service delivery. Fortunately, there are many areas in which technology can help improve a field service engineer's chances of performing the right repair the first time around. As with the service call itself, let's start with the triage and diagnosis of the fault. The implementation of easy accessible knowledge banks can be of benefit not only for the engineer on site, but also for the contact centre agent, who may be able to troubleshoot the problem and either help identify that problem so the engineer is arriving fully prepared, or even provide remote assistance and guidance to the customer to avoid the need for a service call entirely. To add another layer of automation to this process, artificial intelligence, or AI, can be embedded within the triage process. Now, this allows for effective diagnosis of multiple calls simultaneously, and it's always possible to hand over to a human agent for more complex queries with a seamless transition. Beyond the triage stage, knowledge banks are of course incredibly useful for the field service engineer on site to both diagnose problems and guide them through maintenance on assets that may be unfamiliar to them. However, while knowledge banks can be useful in improving first-time fix rates, solutions that allow for engineer-to-engineer communication are shown to have an even more dramatic impact on this core KPI. Research by Field Service News in 2018 revealed that 86% of companies who have implemented some form of engineer-to-engineer communication stated that they saw an improvement in the first-time fix rate. Another means of increasing this metric, which has emerged in recent years, is also the concept of connected field service. This is where assets are connected to the Internet of Things, or IoT, and can identify the faults themselves ahead of failure. This allows for a shift away entirely from the traditional break-fix approach to a far more cost-efficient preventative maintenance approach. While this is not a transition that can be made overnight, it is one in which the savvy field service organisation should be heading towards, as it offers a means of delivering better service in a less costly manner, removing unnecessary costs within the business. Indeed, there are many touchpoints within the field service operation where an FSM solution can bring further cost reductions both quickly and often surprisingly simply. For example, the shift to a fully digital workflow can see a significant reduction in costs simply by removing paper and stationery costs from the business. While this may not seem at first thought like an area where significant savings can be made, it can often add up to tens and even hundreds of thousands of pounds. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. As a field service organisation introduces more and more elements of digitalisation into their business processes, both within the back office and in the field, additional savings become apparent. For example, dedicated inventory management solutions designed to accommodate for the tracking of van stock and the regular movement of parts, which occurs within a field service cycle, can offer far greater visibility into stock across the business and offer major cost savings, as that cash which is tied up in unnecessary stock can be released. Similarly, providing engineers and customers alike access to parts ordering via e-commerce portals can open up new revenue streams that are easy to implement and quick to establish. Another quick win that comes from the digitalisation of field service workflows lies within shortening the service to cash cycle. This can be vastly improved by simply automating the invoicing process and connecting it to the field service engineer's ability to collect job completion from the client via a mobile application whilst on site. Ultimately, there are many ways in which an FSM solution can deliver a clear and tangible return on investment across the field service operation. And when implemented correctly, this can be achieved within a relatively short time frame of between just 6 to 18 months. When we consider that the advent of cloud computing has brought with it the introduction of the software as a service or SaaS model, and that means that the initial outlay for implementing such solutions is heavily reduced, the potential ROI of an FSM solution makes for an incredibly powerful argument. And that brings us to the end of this video. However, if you found this content of use, you may be interested to know that it's actually an excerpt from a much longer documentary produced exclusively by Field Service News in partnership with HSO. If you're a fieldservicenews.com subscriber, you can access the full-length version of this video by simply clicking the links below. If you have yet to subscribe to fieldservicenews.com, then join 30,000 of your field service management peers and do so again by simply clicking the links below. But for now, thanks ever so much for taking the time to watch and listen. Thank you ever so much to HSO for being our partner on this project, and we'll see you all again soon.